First section is pretty easy. Single payment loans. A single payment loan is like if you have if you go to for a car lot, a buy here, pay here lot, and you put a down payment and you take out a loan and it's a small loan, all a single payment loan is they're expecting you to come back, within 3 months, 6 months, something, and you pay it off. So you got one payment. Instead of paying it like a mortgage or something every month, you pay it off one big payment, and that's it.
Is there those payments around?
So, yeah. So if you go, Dylan, you're always talking about buying like a $200 car. Well, you just pay that cash right there on the spot.
Yeah.
But if you go to somewhere and let's say you're buying a $800 car instead of a $200 car. So you might put like $200 down and then go back and pay the rest of it. Well, that car's not going to cost you, depending on who you buy it from. I mean, if you just buy it from some personal, got Joe Blow off the street somewhere, they may let you just pay them the $600. But if you go to some actual like car lot, maybe some little one that somebody runs out of their house or out of their barn or whatever, and they have their dealership license and stuff, then they're going to charge you a interest on allowing you to go 5 or 6 months before you pay that car off. But they're probably not going to set up a payment schedule, because if it's Johnny Hillbilly that owns a car lot that he runs out of his barn, then he's probably not going to have the knowledge and the want to set up paperwork for a monthly payment.
I used to work at a shop in Richmond. When he sold the cars, all they did was rip down the car and the person that bought it, and then the total. And then he said they had like a year or so to pay it off, and whatever they brought in, he just subtracted from the previous.
Put it down there.
That's the only way he kept track. And I was like, I was a repo guy, so that's how I knew all this. They were a year late on that payment. Oh my God.
Take it back. The bad thing with stuff like that is if they're like a year late on a payment on something like that, the car might not be worth getting back.
There's a couple that weren't, but scrap was paying pretty good money. So
Yeah, if you can scrap them, but still, even scrapping $300 or $400 for a car, you might not get your money back out of it.
Probably had 300 or 400.
But you gotta look, if they already paid some of it off and they only owe this much, might as well pay the losses and
Yeah.
keep them without a vehicle if they're not gonna pay it off.
So a single payment loan, a loan you repay one payment, all right? Promissory note is just something that you sign saying, I'm going to pay this off within this amount of time. So that's a promissory note. The maturity value is the total amount you must repay for the loan. Most places, now I don't know how that place that you worked was, but most places, if they give you 6 months to pay it off, say you buy that $800 car and you put $200 down, that means you owe them $600. If they give you 6 months to pay it off, they're not going to charge you $600. They want a little extra for giving you that extra time. So that's what the maturity value is, and it'll say that on the promissory note or whatever you sign. And so you got to be careful when you're signing stuff like that, because it'll say something like, the car was $600 that you still owed them. You want to make sure you read it, and they don't say, okay, in 6 months they owe us $2,000. Well, that's a big markup. All right, in 6 months, you know, it might be
$650.
$50, $75 something. So that's going to be the maturity value of the loan. You took out a loan for $600, the maturity value might be $650. And that's what you end up paying when you come back 6 months later to make sure that it's paid off. As we go through this chapter, a lot of the stuff will be, one second, a lot of the stuff will be dealing with loans. A lot of the loans won't just be single payment loans, they'll be, we'll talk about the other kind of loans. Yes. Yes. Sure. Michaela, they want you in the office. They want you to take your computer for something. You've been getting silly stuff on it and stuff. It's messed up.
That's a trailer. Trailer park, I don't know why.
A term. Term is the amount of time for which the loan is granted. Again, normally if it's a single payment loan, 3 months, 6 months, maybe 9 months, maybe a year. If you're taking out a single payment loan and you're taking it out for 10 years, something's not right there.
I'm not complaining.
Please make sure on these two, you write these down. Ordinary interest, I talked about this last chapter, ordinary interest. So talking about ordinary interest, then they're using a 360-day year. If they're talking about exact interest, then they're using a 365-day year. Any idea why they might use 360 instead of 365?
Give you a little break.
It's just a better even number. So that way, when they're looking at like 12 months, 12 goes into 360 exactly, you know, even and stuff, and so it just makes it a little easier to figure out all the numbers and deal with all the numbers.
I'm sure they still make their interest no matter what. Like,
Yeah, if they do 360 days, they're sort of shorting you 5 days off of in the year, but especially on a single payment loan, hopefully it shouldn't make a whole lot of difference. You know, if you're doing a single payment loan for a year, maybe you're paying an extra $50, $100, something. Not really. It's just, you know, different. If it's Johnny's buy here, pay here car lot, if they're gonna do it, they're probably gonna use the 360 just because it's easier to figure out all the numbers and stuff. And if you're doing a single payment loan, it probably won't matter anyway because it's gonna, you know,
single payment sounds stupid.
if you have that much money, then that's fine. But what if your car breaks down today and you need the car tomorrow to go back and forth to work, and
But what happens
you
if
got $200, but you don't have the whole $800?
Yeah, but if you don't save it, then a year later, you got all that money you still got to collect. Kind of screws.
Well, then that's where you know, hey, I gotta pay this car off.
That's when you strap
So
on.
then you start collecting, saving the money up.
Yeah, I just like the payment.
Yeah, I understand that. So Elijah, it one way or the other, you know, they'll tell you, your year is a 360-day year, your year is a 365-day year. And as we go through in this chapter, they'll tell you, you know, use ordinary interest or use exact interest for each problem.
Here, pay, you get 6 months of drive, if they get refund. I kinda wanna do that. I'll drive it.
Really good one, too.
Yeah. And throw her in the woods, they ain't gonna find it. All her scrapyard, they're probably, rip the motor train out.
Now, you wouldn't be able to haul it to the scrapyard. Because it wouldn't have a title.
Work the engine out of it, you take it.
Rip the motor and tranny out.
I ain't tranny.
And rip the
Hey,
fender
you
out so
gotta let
they
it-
can't catch you.
Well, you scrap it without engine in it, they don't just scrap it, it's not, vehicle.
Never car, well, I've never, I don't know that I've ever taken one without the motor in it, but,
It's a hundred. It's a hundred.
but I've never ever, they've always asked me for the title.
I probably took thousand more vehicles.
How? They've always
They
asked.
never ask
If
it.
it has, if it has the engine in it, then it's still considered a motorized vehicle, but once the engine trips out, they just pay the scrap.
Motor,
They-
sheet metal.
Yeah, sheet metal.
I'm trying to think if there wasn't, because it does seem like there was a car that I took in, they still asked me for the title.
That might have been back in the day too.
I don't know. It's over at West Carrollton, and I know they got in some trouble, so maybe that's why.
Right, why, yeah, West Carrollton, they get in trouble a lot. There's a bunch of people that take cars there, have titles, and then they get reported stolen.
That's why you rip the fender
There's
out.
this one guy, his name's James.
They wouldn't take it without a VIN number.
There's this guy that I knew, his name was James, and he used to get down 70, and there would be cars on the side of the road, broke down, load 2, 3 of them up at a time on a trailer, all over West Carrollton, scrap them. And he was doing that for years, and they finally caught on to, oh, this guy's bringing in so many vehicles, no engine, so. The last one he took in, he had a title legit, and then I got, all right, he's legit. He really was.
That's funny.
Yeah, I know that, I'm pretty sure at West Carrollton, they always made me have a title. And it seems like there was one of the cars that didn't have an engine in it when I hauled it in there, because the engine blew up and we were gonna replace it, and then we just said the heck with it. All right, these formulas, not too difficult. This top one and all of them, except for this bottom one. I equals P times R times T. Remember the T, the time, is always in years. So if you're doing 6 months, that'd be half a year, or 0.5. If you're doing 3 months, that'd be a quarter of a year, so 0.25, so on and so on. If you're doing ordinary interest or exact interest, then we just put it over 360 or over 365, and that makes it a little easier. We did the interest formula, the simple interest formula earlier this year, so nothing new about that. The new parts here is for your time out here. You're just putting in time. Where it says time there, it's going to be days, so it'll tell you like you're doing an ordinary interest loan for 50 days. So you put 50 on top there and just do all the math, and that'll tell you the amount of interest. Again, the maturity value, that's how much you totally owe to the person you're taking the loan out from, or the company you're taking the loan out from.
So the ones with the 360, 365, we do the time by the days.
They'll tell you the number of days. So they'll say like, all right, you're taking this loan out for 65 days or something.
So those ones don't do a year.
It isn't, it's in terms of a year, because you're putting it out of 360.
You don't want us to put like, if it's.
No, you don't have, so if it was 6 months, you'd put 6 times 30, which is 180 days, and that's out of 360. Because when you put this number, the 360 or the 365, that makes it in terms of years.
What about if, alright, so if you sell a car, $600, tell the guy like $50 more interest, but if it takes them 3 months or 6 months to pay it off, is there a term called for that?
Yeah, so if you're,
Or is it called still a flat rate?
so it'd still be a single payment loan, but you're just saying, all right, instead of charging you interest, and this is what a lot of the buy here, pay here lots or something that I was talking about would do. They'd say, okay, you're gonna pay us an extra $100 for letting you keep it out for a year, or not pay it off for a year. Instead of them have to know how to do the math and do this. They just say, okay, extra 100, extra 50, extra 75, whatever. So no real name for that, it's just not knowing how to do the math. So you wanna make it easy.
I'd say it'd be more like $75 for a year though.
It should be, and that's what you gotta watch out for. So if you're buying an $800 car, and they're charging you $200 for a year, well, 200 out of 800 is 25%. So they're charging you 25% interest.
Which that sounds about right.
Yeah, but that's awful high interest.
I think like 6%.
Huh?
6%.
6% would be all right, yeah.
Because I bought a car over the weekend, 2015 Equinox, and the dealership wanted like 6.5% transferred over to my name.
Yeah, that goes back to, remember we've been talking about the APR and the national APR rate and stuff. That's what it's at right now. It's like 6.5. And they're saying that they're getting ready to jack it up to like 7 or 7.25 or something here soon to try to balance out inflation.
Yeah, I was gonna do Hawker or stuff. They gotta take their taxes.
Do what?
They gotta pay their taxes. They wanted $1,500 and after taxes like almost 19. And I was like, come on, cut me a deal. Paying all cash right now. Alright, we'll do $1,500. I'll go. Alright.
Sweet man. We'll go Mexico. Yeah, Mexico.
Yeah, that's when you're buying a car. That's another thing you got to watch out for is the taxes and the title and the tags for it and everything else, and how much they charge you for that.
No, you don't buy tags.
Question.
Yes.
We got
Would,
buy tags.
would the rules of money be different in other countries?
Yeah, probably.
You know?
You know, each country's gonna have their own set. So if you move to Mexico, I don't know what the setup is.
They'll just pay in AKs.
It also depends on the currency.
You watch too much silly TV, Aiden.
I know, I don't care.
It also depends on the currency title of Americans.
Oh, yeah.
Derek Boone purchased this automobile sound system for $850 and financed it at 12% ordinary interest for 90 days. So he's taking out a loan. He goes to some sound system place and they give him a 90-day loan. A lot of these places you can also, my wife looks for this all the time, where they give you 6 months, same as cash, so they don't start charging you interest right away. If you pay it off within 6 months, then you just pay the $850 or whatever it is. The bad thing with those places, if you don't pay it off in that 6 months, guess what they do with all that interest that you should have been paying those first 6 months?
Double it?
They add it right in there. So let's say you pay $820 and don't get this paid off in the 6 months. That first day past that 6 months, you gotta, now you paid $820, you only owed them $30 more. Now you gotta go back and pay all the interest for those 6 months.
That sucks.
So now instead of owing them $30, now you owe them like $130 or something, depending on what the interest was. All right?
25, 50 worth of that.
What do you mean?
I don't even have the answer.
25? I don't know. Let's figure it out. So it's I equals P. What's our principal this time?
Payment, right? 850.
850. P is principal. So that's how much we're borrowing. Times what's the rate?
12%.
So 0.12. Now they told us it's ordinary. Somebody help me out on the notes. Ordinary. Is that over 360 or 365?
360.
And how many days?
90.
So that goes on top there.
850 times.
Now, when you do this, when you're doing these formulas, I would work backwards. I would do 90 divided by 360 on your calculator, hit equals.
0.25.
Then times that by 0.12, then times that by 850. So grab a calculator, grab your calculators out and help me out. Let's hurry up and get through this. One to try to, I think I said this last time, one to try to get the homework done together in class, but if we're sitting here waiting on everybody to find a calculator, then we're not gonna be able to do it.
$25.50.
I don't know, is that what it comes out to be? $25.50. So $25 and 50 cents. That's what?
That's it.
That's the interest.
And she paid,
And in this case,
Add that plus 850, right?
in this case, what they asked for?
interest.
Just the interest. So that would be our answer, $25.50.
Or should-
Now, if they wanted the total that they paid for the thing, then we'd have to do what? Add that on. I think,
That's cheap.
maybe the next slide says that.
$25.50 for 9 days. That's
I don't know,
cheap.
this one doesn't say that.
Just exact interest.
Oh, okay, so this one's exact interest. So let's see, somebody asked which one would be worse, which one do you pay more? We'll find out right now. So $850,
Times
So, you want us,
12% for exact, what is it?
365.
And it's still 90?
should we just hit times from here with all these numbers?
Yeah, again, what I would do, I'd start here, and I'd go backwards. I'd say 90 divided by 365, hit equals, then hit times this, times that, and then hit equals, and that'll give you your answer.
It's the same thing.
25, 50,
Come out exactly the same?
no, 25, 15.
Oh, 15.
So that one's a little cheaper.
So if it's exact interest, you save 35 cents on that one. And again, we're not gonna listen to Dylan, because every time it's less than $6 million, Dylan says, ouch, you just pay it.
35 cents ain't that much. I can get it out of my pocket, right?
Was I wrong, Elijah?
Nope. Yeah, maybe.
Within 30 seconds, it happened.
Buying cars. maybe.
30 seconds, not even for.
$3, I got me a candy bar, guys.
Hey, look,
Shave $3.
if I say $400 on all the cars I give you, by the time I get 10 of them, I got $4,000.
That person took out a single payment loan for $1,200 at 8.3% exact interest. If the loan's maturity value is $1,232.75, for how many days did the person take out the loan? First thing we need to do, he took out a $1,200 loan, and the maturity value, the amount that he had to pay back was that.
Ebersole, your quick visitor.
What is,
You could got up that.
I get enough.
how much interest did this person pay?
32.75.
Now that's the answer that we were getting before. So what we're gonna do now is we're just gonna work this backwards. 32.75 equals the principal. What was the principal this time? 1,200 times, what was the rate this time?
8.083.
0.083, ignore that stray mark going up through there.
That's the first time I've seen the pen do that in a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's because I'm trying to write sideways and stay out of the way. If we're doing, let's see, it said exact interest. So what's our bottom number?
365.
How many days?
X.
We don't know.
All right, X, some question mark, whatever there. Now what you're gonna do to solve this, you're just gonna work everything backwards. Instead of just doing this whole side, what we're gonna do, I'm trying to think of the easiest way to tell you here.
1,200 times 0.0.
Let's do all of this. Multiply those two together. There, just did it again. Multiply those two together. Divide by 365.
99.
So that's going to give us, what is it?
0.27.
Give me about four numbers.
28. 29.
29.
Yeah.
That still times our question mark. 32.75 on this side.
So we just divide those sides by
Now you divide both sides by that number, which is 0.2729. What should happen to this number when you're dividing by something like 0.2729?
should be
Should get bigger, right?
120. 120.01.
So remember, what are we looking for here? Number of what? Days. So about how many days?
120.
Probably 120 days. How come it came out like 0.01 instead of exact? Because what do we do over here? We rounded all this stuff off. If we kept the numbers exact, then it'd probably come out exactly 120 days. So Amrit, or whatever this person's name is, probably took the loan out for 120 days, or about
Do
4
you not make
months.
these questions?
Do what?
Do you not make the questions?
No, sometimes, not all of them.
Unless they any change to
Yeah, I could still change the name, I just didn't feel like it.
Amaret,
Oh, shit. There it is.
Live in
who's the Amaret?
Preble County here, you guys need to see some other names sometime.
Probably
Why not? What's wrong with
Alright, we got Dylan and
John and Joe and
Elijah?
We got about 40 minutes, get your books out. Page 307, we'll do these together.
that. I'll do it
There
with
you go.
you.
You want to just take so
We should be able to get them all done if you guys hurry up.
Sure, so where's the book? That's that. My God.
I just realized I've been writing the notes down the wrong.
hey, yeah. That's wrong.
Yeah, I realize that now. This is my science notebook.
Hey, Dave, what's your science notebook?
Oh, really?
Hey, when I figure out that
You can even see it.
307.
Opposed, pencil like
3, 0,
Got it, alright.
7,
Yep, got it.
That was 6.
Alright,
6,
got it.
7.
Page is 307.
My brain. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Sounds like.
Holy crap, it's 307? I was never guess that.
Hey, something else I don't know.
If you don't
Page
know,
number is 307.
the
No,
homework.
I already know that. Say something else.
The page number is
Hey, look, I
307.
found the page, I think it's 307.
Wait, I think it's 307 too.
Kylie, I think you're wrong.
Hey, I figured it out.
Actually, it's 306 just on the other side.
Yeah, I think
But I think that's 307 too.
If you take 308 minus 1, then you get 307.
Are we ready yet?
I was going to say.
Yes.
Y'all done being goofy.
I shortened this up so that we could try to get it done to what I was doing back there when you guys came back.
4.
So we could try to hurry up and get it done.
4's drum set.
So how about your, what'd I do with my pen?
What are you looking for?
My pen.
His drum
I
set.
stood it somewhere.
Is that it behind you?
It's right there in your
I
hand.
thought I stood it. Maybe it's on something.
It's in your hand.
Number 4.
Your teeth are red. Alright. Drum set. We need exact interest. I mean,
So this time, what kind of loan is it? Ordinary or exact?
it was exact. Ordinary.
Ordinary. So they're saying $900, ordinary loan, 4%, for how many days?
45.
45. They want, our two answers are gonna be the interest and the maturity value. So for part A, we're gonna use the formula, then for part B, we're gonna add that answer to the original principal. So I equals, what's the principal this time?
900.
900 times, what's the percent?
4.
So what do I write down?
0.04.
And ordinary or exact, which one is it this time? Is that over 360 or over 365?
360.
360. How many days?
9. 45.
45.
Yes.
Yeah, it's up here, right? 45 days.
Somebody do all that math.
$4.5.
450.
So $4.50. Anybody else get that? Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
So that's the answer to part A. How do we find part B, the maturity value?
Time plus the interest.
So you take the principal plus the interest, and what do you get?
That.
904.50.
904.50. So when you go back in 45 days to pay this off, how much you gonna owe them?
$4.50. Or
$904.50.
Oh yeah, altogether.
Yeah, it'd be nice if you could just say, yeah, I'm gonna buy these drums for $900 and then you go pay them $450 and then really work out.
$4.50, that's a good deal for interest.
Number 5, what's number 5 say?
Used car.
Used car.
What's our principal?
1,960.
60?
Yes.
What's our rate?
6%.
Exact.
0.06.
It's exact, so is that 360 or 365? 365, how many days?
30 days.
Yes.
Again, if I'm doing this, I would start here and do the division, hit equals, and hit times this,
967.
probably the easiest. 967?
$9.67.
Everybody agree with that? Does it make sense that you go to some buy here, pay here car lot and buy a car for $1,960 and you're gonna go back within 30 days and pay it off and they're gonna charge you about $10? Yeah. They're probably, it seems low. They're probably gonna charge you more than that just because they don't wanna do the paperwork for $10. So they're probably gonna put some other fees, throw them in there also, but that's what the interest would be. They'll probably tell you, oh yeah, there's a $50 fee for us doing the paperwork for you and so on and so on. How do we find part B? Principal plus the interest, what's that give us?
1969.
69.
67 cents?
67.
Is that right?
Yeah.
67.
1969, 67. 69, 67. You can minus 2 to get 67 or add 2 to get 67.
Number 6, what's it say?
Used dirt bike. So,
What's our principal?
4,800.
4,800 times, what's our rate? 10?
Ordinary.
So what do I write down? 0.1 times,
123 over 360.
does everybody agree with all that?
Mm-hmm.
Do all that math? Somebody tell us how much interest we're gonna pay.
164.
164?
Why would it be 0.10?
Yeah, how come it wouldn't be 0.10?
Because it don't matter?
No, 10%, what do we do every single time? Move it 2 places every time.
Yeah, 0.10.
Okay, well, yeah. If you want to
it
zero
don't
it,
matter,
yeah.
I guess, does it?
No, not really, but if it helps you to remember, then put it on there. So $164, that's the amount of interest. How do you find part B?
I don't get
What do you get?
4,964.
So how much do you end up paying for the dirt bike?
About $5 grand.
It ain't $5,000, it's $4,964.
I apologize.
That, a little extra helps. That's pocket change.
$46.
Pocket change. Buy your candy bars.
You're.
Oh, my candy.
You can turn the pocket change into a gift.
$1 candy bars.
I didn't know $46 was pocket change though, Mr. Ebersole, didn't they?
Apparently for some people it is.
Yeah, I know you're talking about that.
They must be really their check is.
Really? Dude, I love all that. But I'm a fat kid. Alright, what we do?
Number 8?
Wait, what was 7?
7.
What was 7? Somebody help us out. I just
Commission
erased it.
twins.
Did we do 7?
No,
Oh, we didn't do 7?
Yeah, we did. 6.
We did 6?
Yeah,
On my head.
pretty sure.
Number 7.
Principal is 9,675. dollars. Interest is exact with 9%.
So what I put for 9%?
0.09.
0.09.
And then days is 275. And it'll be over 365.
365. Everybody agree with that?
Yep. Cause it's exact.
65.57.
$65.57.
Yeah.
That was a.
You add that plus the 967, or, yeah, the 967.
Somebody do that for us.
I got different.
You did?
Yeah, I got
60.
656 with $4 or $4.
So let's go back. Try this again. Again. Let's try this again.
275.
Divide this, hit equals, times this, times this. Now let's think about it before you do it. You're borrowing almost $10,000
For almost a year.
for almost a year. At 9%, that's 9's almost 10%. So over a year, they would charge you 10% of $10,000, which is 1,000.
So it's a little less.
So our answer should be a little less than $1,000. So $65. Does that really make sense for it to be $65? No, we're getting a heck of a deal if it's only $65.
I did it wrong.
That's right. Did you figure it out?
Yeah.
Would
656.04.
anybody else get that?
Mm-hmm.
Again, it goes back to what have I said all year long? Make sure what?
I think I got 654.
Makes sense.
Make sure your answer makes sense.
I was hoping someone else said it, but.
I got
Make sure that your answers make sense as you're going through and doing this. Think about it. Now that one, that's a little tough. This, if you come up with, they're gonna charge you $10,000 in interest, then you should know, hey, that doesn't make sense. Or $6,000 in interest or something like that. What was our total maturity value?
10,331 portions.
331
Yeah.
and 4 cents.
66. Wait.
Remember what I said last time? Ain't my blocks on the floor and I'm moving you to. No more chances.
Wait, you guys are throwing blocks again?
Yes.
So just saying
It's
hypothetically.
not
if
my fault.
so-
Right.
if this is for school.
If Tage throws one back here and it's back here by you, just because he wants to be a
There's
jerk.
hole in the bottom of this.
Well, probably.
Half the time I don't even touch it. Seriously, I don't.
She's probably the one that puts
Sounds
the
like
hole in.
free-
No.
So just do me a favor, and if it does,
Pick it up.
just pick it up.
Or say
and then
something.
we won't have to worry about it.
Yeah, I got a hole in my bag.
Next one, number 8. A little different on number 8. Somebody help us out. We're not gonna get this done unless we start picking up the pace.
I'm trying, Mr. Ebersole, I really am.
Number 8,
Read it, though.
blah, 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 obtains a $1,000 loan to purchase a laser printer. Her interest rate is 7%, ordinary interest for 180, or 408 days.
108.
108.
You said 408.
100.
What's our principal?
1,000.
What's the rate?
Point, read that?
7%.
0.07. 108 over
300,
yeah,
ordinary.
360.
360?
Yeah,
360 days.
360.
360.
Somebody figure out all that. Now, before you do it, stop. Before you do it, 7% for about half a year. 7% on 1,000 will be about $70. All right? But we're only doing it for about a half a year. So that should be, what's half of 70?
30,000.
$35. So we should be somewhere around $35 in interest when we get this.
So 21,
It's 21.
that's what I got.
Now, how come we're a lot less than the 35 that I was
We're
estimating?
not quite at, 180 is half,
180 would be half, so we're not
quite at.
at half a year. I was just rounding it off so I could do it in my head. So what is the answer?
21.
I got 21, but somebody else,
21 even?
yeah.
Is that what we're going with?
That's what I got.
That's what I got, and I didn't round off the numbers.
Now, be careful. Is that the answer, or is that what they ask us?
For that and
Do they want the maturity value also, or do they just want the interest?
They were both.
For
They want both?
For a heart.
So that's one of our answers. What's our other answer then?
$1,021.
B 102
Good job.
9. Blah blah blah.
I'll give you the main part, so.
8,400.
Yeah, 8,400.
That's the principal?
Yeah, with a 12%, with a 0.12 times 146 over 365.
So that's a 146, sorry. 365?
Yeah.
So it's an exact interest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exact.
I got $403.20.
Anybody else get that?
Yeah.
You're just agreeing, so.
I want to go back.
Yes, no, maybe? Is that what we're going with? Is that our answer?
One of our
Yes.
answers.
One.
Do they want both of them
Yeah.
again?
Yeah.
One vote.
So that plus 8,400.
So that's one of our answers. That's the amount of interest.
$803.20.
8,800.
So it makes sense if we take out a loan for 146 days, about a third of a year, that we're gonna pay back $8,800 on an $8,400 loan.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Alright, for,
That's a lot of money.
for 10, they want
So everybody got all those before I erase it?
10.
Mhm.
For 10, they want both, both interest.
Both the interest and the maturity value?
No, like.
Ordinary and exact.
Oh, so they want, and they just want us to find the interest for each one to compare? So everybody got all those?
Yes.
Yeah, read you off the numbers.
Hold on a second.
24,000.
What number is this?
10.
So which one are we doing first, exact or ordinary?
Ordinary.
So I'm just gonna put ORD, is that all right?
Yep.
I equals
24,000.
24,000,
Yeah.
big number.
0.09.
So 9% times, if it's ordinary, it's over 360, right?
60 and 144.
Now let's do this before you give me the answer to this. Would you say we want exact also
Yeah.
for the same thing?
Uh-huh.
So I equals, everything's gonna be the same, except, what's gonna change?
144 over 365.
144 over 365 instead of 360. Ignore that stray mark. Punch those in.
Alright, top, for 10%, you should get around 12.
1,200, right? Well, and you only want about half of that, so about 600.
86.
A little less than 600 probably.
Adam, what'd you say you got for the first one?
864.
No, so that's a little more.
864, that's what I got.
Yep, that's it.
Oh, because we're at 24,000.
Yeah.
All right. That might be all right. So what is it?
864.
Even?
Yeah. Even.
But it wants the,
That sounds a little high to me. I don't know. Let's try it.
What's the
Let's
maturity?
try it again.
I got 8.
What's the maturity?
144 divided by 360.
I was originally getting on it for my calculator, and then I clicked on it.
All right.
What's the maturity value, not the
Yeah, I got
interest?
It wants the, so it wants the maturity value instead of the interest?
It wants
It wants ordinary interest and exact interest, it says at the bottom of the
Yeah,
question.
but it determines the. $842.6.
So it wants the maturity value for each. So what are we gonna do with this to get our answer then?
Just add that to there,
So add it to the, and what do we come up with?
24,864.
24,800.
But that's,
That's the answer to the first part. Anybody get the second part yet?
$24,842.
No, I didn't get this one. I got 852 for it, so we added.
852?
Yeah, 852.16.
.16, so that's the interest.
Don't we add it to the?
Add it to the 24,000. What do you come up with?
24,852.16. Don't listen to Dylan, but you got the right answer.
what was the last word?
I was about to say, you said the right
You don't
answer
need
for
the
the
last
last
part.
part.
All we need is the last part.
He's right, it's, all we needed is
See? Dylan's right. He's always right.
Number 11, what's it asking us?
Suppose you're at the bank, suppose that your bank has a minimum loan charge of $48 when you borrow at 6% ordinary interest for 90 days. What principal borrowed will result in a $48 interest charge?
So in other words, what they're saying here, you go into your bank to get a loan. They're not just gonna give you a $100 loan and let you pay $2 in interest. They're gonna say, okay, if we're gonna actually make this worth our while, we're gonna charge you $48 no matter what. All right? So what this is asking you is, should you borrow $100 and let them charge you $48? Or should you borrow what it would actually be to get charged $48? You know, which would make sense. And so what they're trying to find here is we got our I equals P times R times T. The interest we know this time is how much?
48.
48, so we're gonna put that in there. The principal we don't know, so we're just gonna leave it P.
Rate is .06.
6, is that right?
Yeah.
And then is it an ordinary or an exact?
Ordinary. So 90 over 360.
90 over 360. So do this. You're going to take this divided by that, hit equals, then times it by .06. And what's that give you?
0.015.
That? Is that right?
Yes. Divide by .015.
Now you divide both sides by that .015, divide the 48 by that, and that's going to tell you how much of a loan you take out.
3,200.
Does anybody else get 3,200? So how much of a loan should we take out if we're gonna get charged $48 in interest? 3,200. All right, so what they're telling you there is Tate probably doesn't want to go in and take out a loan for $200 and let them charge him $48 when he could take a loan out for $3,200 and get charged the same thing.
If you pay off a loan, does that make your credit go up? So if you get on in there with.
Now, the bad thing with taking out a loan is when you take out a loan, that makes your credit rating go down.
I thought it
Because
heightened it.
if,
Well, what happens if you don't have none?
because if you have money out that you owe people, then that lowers your credit rating.
But
So the
if-
more money you owe,
Lower your
the
score.
lower your score is.
So if you pay
But
that
if
off,
you pay it off,
does it go higher than what it was originally?
right, yeah.
So if I could take out like $1,000 loan and pay it off like the next day,
Then, yeah. So,
Same.
so,
Can we just cheat and just keep doing that over and over again?
yeah, you can, but again,
They'll eventually
what'd they
stop.
tell you here?
48 days.
Shoot, if I got,
$48 in interest.
I got picked.
So even if you take out that $1,000 loan and you go back and you pay it off the next day, you just take the money right back in there the next day,
You're losing money.
you're gonna lose $48 because they're gonna charge you that amount.
Yeah, but.
Yeah, but if I'm not using the money either way, and I'm just trying to get my credit score up.
Right, but
You're still losing
if you're trying to get your credit, that, and that's fine, but you gotta decide, is the $48 doing that over and over again, is that worth getting your credit
Yeah,
score up
my
for?
credit score, up, I can get a better loan than just go Mexican. Yeah. I mean, I climb that wall.
Number 14, what kind of problem is it?
It's just
Fraction.
40 divided by 60, which.
What they want? What's it say?
Reduce it to lowest term.
Lowest terms.
So 40 over 60. Most of your calculators, if you have your calculator out now, it's got an ABC button on it. If you have one of the big calculators, then what you have to do on it is hit 40 divided by 60 and hit the math button. And the very top thing says fraction. Hit enter, then hit enter again, and it'll reduce it for you as a fraction.
Where's the math button?
Yeah, no, yours has an ABC button.
Oh.
So you do 40, ABC, 60, and then hit equals. What's it come out to be? 2 over 3.
3. 2/3.
Some of these you can do if you're just in your head.
Right.
Yeah, you could have did that on your head.
Yeah.
Like,
Thanks.
next one's 1/4, and the other one's 1/3.
What is the next one?
180 over 360.
I hope you realize that you said that wrong.
1/2, yeah.
Wait, 40 divided by 60.
No, ABC button set.
ABC button.
No divided by on yours.
Well, it doesn't.
Can you divide it though?
Okay, 40, ABC, and then
60,
60.
then hit equals.
Oh, now it works.
Yeah, it worked the other time.
Yeah,
What's this give you?
1/2. And then it's 90 over 360.
1/3.
Gives you 1/4.
What is it?
1/4.
1/4?
Yeah. Half of 80 is 90.
Now, what they're showing you on this, if you have something like this, would it be easier to type into your calculator? If you had 180 days out of 360, would it be easier to type in 1 and 2 in your calculator
It'd be
to reduce
easier
that
to
down
type in
first?
0.5.
Or 0.5? Number 17.
So all you got.
It's the
That's it.
Herbert is interested in a color television, marked down 40%. The unit price is $329. What's the television regular selling price?
So, the selling price is $329, and it's marked down 40%. Give me, just throw out a number. What could the original price be? Just some estimate.
329 times.
Don't tell me how to do it or anything.
530.
$530, Tate said.
Yeah,
It
that's
should be
marked down.
what?
Yeah, that's marked down.
It should be higher than this, right?
Yeah.
So when we're gonna do this, we're just gonna take 0.40 times that? No, what we have here is 0.40 times the original price equals the original price
Plus. Subtract.
minus the 40% off, right? So somehow we gotta work this backwards. Let's think of let's try not do it this way, that's probably gonna be too difficult. Let's think of the easiest way, how could we do it?
You switch to average on That would be the easiest way to do
Now,
it.
the easiest way to do it for me would be I go sit down and just say, okay, you gotta finish that problem, or otherwise you don't get any credit for your homework.
I think it should be 460, 60 cents.
So it was 40% off. How much did you actually pay?
60% of the actual.
60%. So 60% of or times the original, and that gave us how much?
Markdown.
Which is how much?
329.
$329. Oops, $329. What do you gotta do to this 60%?
5 was that?
That's true. What are you gonna do to it first before you divide them?
Oh, 0.6.
0.6, 0.60, we'll put 0.60 there for Dylan, because we don't want to confuse him again.
So 329. Divide.
What's gonna happen to this number when you get that?
It's gonna go bigger.
It'll get bigger.
548, 33
Sorry,
continuous.
close.
$548 and what?
It's continuous at 33.
33 cents? So what was the original price? Let me make sure that's what they asked us. What was the television's regular selling price, yeah? So how much did the TV cost originally? About $548.33. Was Tage's guess pretty close?
Yes.
He said about $530.
I got about 553.
Hey, you wanna work on homework now?
No.
For return is.
548, what?
33.